So today we're going to learn how to change a wheel on a 2008 Porsche Cayenne Turbo. My wife was so kind as to provide us this opportunity by tearing open the sidewall of our old tire on the pipe. So I have my niece Holly with me today to help assist me with this endeavor. So the first thing we do is we gather all the tools we need, and we have, what is this, Holly?
The breaker bar.
And what do we use this for?
To loosen the
lug nuts. That's right. So we use these to break them free because they're at very high torque initially. And then what is this called?
An impact wrench.
Yes, and we will use this to speed up the process of removing the lugs, and then also to tighten them. And then finally, our friend, the
torque wrench.
Yes, and we will use this to
torque the lug nuts.
Yes, easy as that. So we have everything we need. Brand new tire, looks great, nice and black, how we like them. And now the first thing we have to do is we're going to break the lugs, then we're going to jack up the car, remove the lugs, swap the wheels, tighten them up, let her down, and off we go. Alright, so the first step is to break the lug nuts. These weren't put on very tight on the side of the road, so this won't be very difficult. We have our budding automotive enthusiast, Holly, here to go ahead and break them. So go ahead, Hol. Perfect. So that's not tight at all. And the last one, if you have a wheel lock, which most of them come with from standard, this will be in the trunk underneath the flat panel. Go ahead, Hol, break it. Make sure you get it oriented so you have a lot good leverage. Alright, now we jack it up. So here we are on the inside of the Cayenne. This one has the air suspension, which allows you to control the ride height and also self-levels. So before jacking up the car, we have to put the suspension in a mode where it doesn't try to self-level as you're jacking the car up. Holly, could you please push the ride height lever forward for 5 to 10 seconds, as it says in the manual. Now on the display, you can see the picture of the yellow truck with the arrows up and down there in the display. That tells us that we've now turned off the automatic leveling system, so now we can jack up the car. So now that we've set the air suspension so that it allows us to jack up and down the car without it trying to self-level, we're going to jack up the car underneath. So Holly, can you take this floor jack right here and go ahead and, first we have to spin this thing clockwise so that it tightens, and then we roll it underneath. And then kneel down there, Holly, so that you can see that jack pad. Okay, so go a little bit further. Alright, go ahead and start to pull it up. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Perfect. Keep going. Alright, so now that the car is all jacked up, we're ready to go. Holly's going to use the, what is that?
Impact wrench.
That's right. Go ahead, make sure it's in reverse. We're good. Zip them off. Perfect. And this doesn't have to be done in any specific order when you're removing them. And last but not least, okay, this last one will hold the wheel. Alright, now for the fun part, we're going to mount our wheel with our brand new tire onto this rear right wheel. You can see I kind of tuck the bottom underneath, I lift it up. So you can see there's a little bit of a ridge here, and this is what the inside of the hub of the wheel will sit on, or will rest on as we're mounting the wheel. I'll get right on that hub, and then what I personally do is I will spin this back and forth. You can see the wheel spinning, you can see the rotor and the rest of the hub on the car is not, and I do this to make sure that I have a really nice flush fitment so it's not cockeyed and I'm less likely to get any vibration. And then I'll spin it so that I line this up just perfectly. Then I'll hold the bottom off with my foot, and then I start them all by hand. And it's important to go in a star pattern. So I'll just start this a little bit by hand here. And I'll grab another one. And you can see in this case, I'm barely engaging it with the wheel itself. And I'm going star, so I go here, 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 here. that helps prevent it from being mounted cockeyed, so that, again, you're less likely to get the wheel vibration. And I start it by hand so that I'm less likely to get cross-threading too. I'll be able to feel it if there's any problems. Our friend right here, the impact wrench, this is a brand new Ryobi. It's 3 speeds, so the first one is slower with less torque. So again, I'll start off in the first speed. I barely touch it, just to make sure that they are all nice and even. What I do is I'll go around and I gently tighten in a star pattern. So this is only on the first to the lowest torque of this thing. So this isn't anywhere where the actual torque would be. And then I am going to kick it up again to number 2 in this case. So now they're tight, but they're not torqued to where they should be, so we'll do that in the very last stage. Now that the wheel has been mounted and we've gone on the star pattern and we're really happy and comfortable with the fact that we have a nice flush fitment, we'll go ahead and lower the car back down. And we do that by just going counterclockwise with that haul. Sort of spin this really carefully. And down it goes. And go all the way. And pull it out. Alright, now before we torque the wheels, we have to set the torque wrench so that we know what torque we're at. So Holly, go ahead and spin this guy right here so that we're at 118 foot-pounds of torque according to the manual. Alright, so Holly's set this to 118 foot-pounds of torque. So now again, we still go in the star pattern because you still want to ensure that it's nice and flush. So what I do is I go kind of easy as I go all the way around, because I don't want to crank one way down and offset it. So I'm going in the star. And I'll friend the wheel lock over here. And notice I don't hear any clicking. Once I hear a click on this torque wrench, then I know that is 118 pounds of torque. So we got one right there. So you can see we're pretty close on this. Alright, and then once I have them all torqued, I usually go around at least one more time to make sure that they feel nice and even. Alright, so we've successfully mounted the wheel and torqued it. What is the last thing we need to do, Hall?
We need to reactivate the air suspension.
That's right, so it all levels out on its own. So here we are back inside the Cayenne Turbo. Holly, go ahead and reset that air suspension so that it levels as it sees fit. Okay, and the last step is to go into the computer here and make sure that it's set for the correct type of tires. Okay, and it looks like we are set. Summer tires on 21-inch wheels, so we are set. And you can see that our tire pressures are reading. That back right tire that we just changed isn't reading yet. As soon as we drive down the road for a couple of miles, it will pop up. And we're off. Last step is to put the spare back into the spare tire compartment. So now we need to let all of the air out of the spare tire. You could just push the valve here, but it would take an eternity to let all the air out. So there is a special tool to remove the valve. I just have some needle nose pliers here. You can see the collapsing part of the collapsible spare occurring right now. And now it is fully collapsed. And this is Marion. She's the one that gave us the opportunity to create this video, so let's thank her very much. And Marion, I'm going to leave this last step for you. Do you know what this is right here?
It's a pin.
It's a valve for the tire. And what happens if this is not in the tire when you go to inflate it?
The air comes flying out.
How do you know this?
Because there was no pin in the valve when I tried to blow it up.
And how many times did you have to try to inflate it?
3.
How many times were you successful?
None.
Marion had to call in reinforcements, drive the tire down to the tire shop, get the valve put in, then she could inflate it. So it was a little bit more of a project than she had anticipated. So that will never happen again.
Never.
So I will let you do the honors right here and put that back in.
Okay.
All right, perfect. All right. Do you have anything else to say to the viewers?
Well, you wouldn't be making this video if it wasn't for me.
That's right.
So you're welcome.
So Marion, what did we just discover?
The valve
Where was it?
in the car.
In the compartment.
In the trunk.
How many hours do you think that would have saved if you had noticed that earlier?
2 hours.
2 hours. There's Marion righting her wrongs. And 45 minutes later, the jigsaw puzzle is complete.